There's a town in Texas where the streets are underwater, and if you visit at low tide, you can see the courthouse foundation 15 feet below the surface. The bodies were never recovered. The whole city just drowned. Texas doesn't do haunted the way other states do. We're talking 5111 documented ghost towns, more than any other state in America, and some of them, the locals don't just say don't visit, they say don't stop the car. These aren't tourist traps with overpriced ghost tours and actors in period costumes. These are real places where real things went wrong. Towns poisoned by their own industry. Places where serial killers dumped bodies for decades. A hospital where 2,000 people died and something decided to stay. And here's the kicker. In Texas, trespassing can get you legally shot. Purple paint on a fence post? That's not decoration. That's a warning that deadly force is authorized. We're diving into 10 small towns you've probably never heard of and might wish you hadn't. One town literally poisoned its workers to death with mercury. Another sits on top of toxic waste so dangerous the EPA says it won't be safe for 750 years. Oh, and there's the one where over 30 bodies of women have been found since 1971, and most of the cases are still unsolved. Think you know creepy? Sure, but do you know the town where an entire school exploded, killing 295 children, and for 40 years no one would talk about it? Or the road through a swamp where mysterious lights appear every single night, and when scientists investigated, they said it's not car headlights and just gave up. Hit subscribe because next time you're road tripping through Texas, you'll want to know which exits to skip, and trust me, after number 1, you're gonna double check your GPS. Let's break it down. There's a cemetery in West Texas where the graves aren't in rows. They're just scattered. Random crosses made of 2 sticks, most with no names. And if you visit at dusk, locals swear you can see miners walking through town like they're still heading to work. Terlingua sits 8 miles from Big Bend National Park in Brewster County, a few exits past the end of the world. At its peak in the 1910s and 1920s, 2,000 people lived here mining mercury from cinnabar ore. Today, about 58 to 78 people, depending on who's counting and whether they're permanent or just passing through. Here's what they don't put on the postcards. Mercury mining killed you slowly. The miners called it salivation. Your teeth would loosen and fall out. Then the tremors started. Then madness. Then death. The average miner lasted less than 5 years before the mercury destroyed them from the inside out. And get this, they were happy to have the job. Pennies a day. All while completely unaware that they were basically volunteering for a slow, agonizing death. The Terlingua Cemetery opened in 1902 specifically to bury the miners who died on the job. It's on the National Register of Historic Places now, which sounds official until you realize it's just a patch of desert with random crosses and the weirdest memorial items you've ever seen. Grateful Dead CDs. A 3-foot T-Rex statue. Lawn chairs positioned like someone's having a conversation with the dead. Howard Perry's mansion still overlooks everything from the hilltop. The man made a fortune while his workers' teeth fell out. His house stands empty now, watching over the ruins like a guilty conscience that refuses to leave. And the mines? Still there. 23 miles of subsurface tunnels across 17 levels. You can peer through iron grates into the darkness, feel warm, moist air rising from the earth. Ghost town tours run during daylight only. For safety reasons. Right, safety. Here's the thing about Terlingua. It's not creepy because of what happened. It's creepy because you can still feel it. The mercury contamination is real. The mine shafts are real. And those crosses in the cemetery, every single one represents someone who came here looking for work and found something much worse. Location, FM 170 and Terlingua Ghost Town Road, Brewster County. Free to visit, just don't expect to sleep well after. And if you think a town that poisoned its own workers is dark, wait until you meet the place that drowned an entire city and left it underwater. Pop quiz. What do you call a town where the streets are 15 feet underwater and you can see the old courthouse foundation only at low tide on cold winter days? You call it Indianola, or you would if anyone still lived there. Before Galveston became Texas's big port city, Indianola was the gateway. By 1875, population 5,000. The place where German immigrants arrived by the thousands, where the US Army imported camels, yes, actual camels, for desert experiments. This wasn't some backwater. This was a major city. Then September 15th to 16, 1875 happened. Category 3 hurricane, 9 to 12-foot storm surge. Between 150 and 300 people died. Both lighthouses were destroyed with their keepers inside. Nearly every building leveled. But here's the wild part. They rebuilt whole city from scratch. We're tougher than hurricanes, they said. This is Texas. 11 years later, August 20th, 1886. Category 4 hurricane. 15-foot storm surge, 155-mile-per-hour winds. This time, only 2 houses survived. 2. A fire started during the storm and consumed what the water didn't take. 5 weeks later, another hurricane hit the ruins just to make sure. By 1887, Indianola didn't exist anymore. What makes this genuinely unsettling is where the town went. It didn't just get abandoned and fall apart like a normal ghost town. It's underwater. Main Street is buried 15 feet below Matagorda Bay. The old courthouse, the homes, the businesses, all of it submerged and slowly being reclaimed by the Gulf. A 2022 archaeological survey of Indianola Cemetery found over 110 unmarked graves, many victims buried in shrouds instead of caskets because there weren't enough coffins for everyone who died. And many hurricane victims never found at all. They're still out there, somewhere in the bay. There's a granite monument on the shore now, marking where the courthouse used to stand. Visitors describe standing there at dusk, hearing gentle waves lapping against the riprap, and swearing they can almost hear the roar of the storm and the screams of people who knew they were going to die. One witness wrote, "With the quietness broken only by water, I could almost hear the monstrous howl of a killing storm, rendering mute the screams of desperate people." Population today, 0, unless you count ghosts and fish. Location, Matagorda Bay shoreline, Calhoun County. Public access to cemetery and markers. The underwater ruins, you'll need permits, and probably therapy. Indianola drowned in 1886, but the next place, bodies are still showing up. Let's talk about the stretch of I-45 between Houston and Galveston. 50 miles of highway, 30-plus bodies of women found since 1971. The FBI is still actively investigating. They call it the Texas Killing Fields. There's a specific 25-acre patch of land off Calder Road in League City where 4 women were discovered between 1983 and 1991. Heidi Fye, a bartender, Laura Miller, and 2 women who weren't even identified until 2019, Audrey Lee Cook and Donna Gonsalam Prudhomme. The victims range from ages 12 to 25. Many had similar physical features. Bodies found naked, some posed against trees with their arms folded like someone was arranging a scene. The first victim was Brenda Jones, discovered July 2nd, 1971. That's over 50 years ago, and they're still finding bodies. Multiple killers have operated here. William Lewis Reese was convicted in 2022 for murdering 3 victims. He actually led police to burial sites. Kevin Edison Smith got convicted for killing Crystal Jean Baker, but most cases unsolved. One victim discovered over 40 years ago is still unidentified. Just Jane Doe, body in a field, nobody knows who she was. Investigative reporter Lisa Olson says there's a pretty strong suspect in the Calder Road cases who has never been charged. Think about that, they know who probably did it, and he's still out there. FBI Special Agent Richard Renison said it may be labeled a cold case, but that doesn't mean it's sitting on a shelf, which is FBI speak for we haven't given up, but we also haven't solved it. Here's what makes this particularly disturbing. The area has been developed now. Housing, paved roads. A local church owns the original field. People are living on top of where bodies were discovered, building their lives literally on top of a killing ground. Tim Miller, father of victim Laura Miller, founded Texas Equisearch after his daughter's murder. He's planning to build a memorial park because these weren't just bodies. They were daughters, sisters, someone's child who never came home. The land is accessible. Memorial markers exist with photos and mementos, but locals will tell you, don't go there alone. Don't go there at night, because whoever did this, some of them were never caught. Location, Calder Road area, League City, and the broader I-45 corridor to Galveston. During the day, with other people, seriously, bodies in fields are one kind of horror, but the next town, everyone died at once. March 18th, 1937. 3:17 p.m., a shop class at New London Consolidated School. Someone turns on an electric sander. One spark. The entire building explodes. 295 to 311 students and teachers died instantly. The deadliest school disaster in American history. A 2-ton concrete slab hurled 200 feet through the air, crushing a parked Chevrolet like a soda can. Walter Cronkite covered it as his first major news story. He later said nothing. Not World War II, not the Kennedy assassination, not Vietnam. Nothing he ever reported came close to the magnitude of what he saw that day. Here's what happened. The school, built in 1932 for $1 million during the East Texas oil boom, had been illegally tapped into a residue gas line to save $300 per month on heating. $300. That's what 300 children's lives were worth. A heating bill. Odorless natural gas accumulated beneath the 253-foot-long building. Students had complained of headaches for weeks. Nobody investigated. One spark from a sander and the whole thing went up. And here's the part that'll make your skin crawl. For 40 years, no memorial was held. Survivors refused to speak about it. Families moved away. The few who stayed just didn't talk about it. The museum archivist graduated from the rebuilt school in 1961 and didn't learn about the explosion until college. It happened in her town, at her school, and nobody told her. The disaster did lead to one lasting change. Texas became the first state to require mercaptan, that rotten egg smell, be added to natural gas. That requirement is nationwide now. Every time you smell gas, you're smelling a safety measure bought with 300 children's lives. There's a reproduction chalkboard in the London Museum today displaying what was found in the rubble. Oil and natural gas are East Texas's greatest mineral blessing. Without them, this school would not be here. The irony is so dark, it's almost funny. Almost. A pink granite cenotaph memorial stands in front of the rebuilt school now. Population hovers around 1,000. The oil wealth is long gone. And every year on the anniversary, people gather to remember the day a whole generation died because someone wanted to save $300. Location, Rusk County, 25 miles southeast of Tyler. Museum opens on Main Street. Free admission on April 16th anniversary. Bring tissues. An explosion that killed 300 in seconds is horrifying. But what about poison that kills for generations? Most ghost towns are dead. This one's actively killing people. The San Jacinto River waste pits near Channelview aren't abandoned. They're not historical. They're happening right now. And they might be the scariest thing on this list because you can't see the danger, can't smell it, can't avoid it if you live nearby. From 1964-1973, Champion Paper Mill dumped waste here. Today, the site contains highly toxic dioxins and furans in over 230,000 tons of material. 60% now lie underwater due to erosion and flooding. Without full remediation, contamination will remain a threat for the next 750 years. 750 years. Let that sink in. A 2025 health study identified a 257 square mile cancer cluster around the site. Elevated rates of childhood brain cancer, leukemia, liver cancer, lymphoma, cervical cancer. Women living adjacent to the pits have among the highest maternal mortality rates in the nation. 30% of pregnancies result in at least one serious complication. Texas has advised against eating fish from the San Jacinto River for 35 years. After Hurricane Harvey, dioxin concentration in sediment reached 70,000 nanograms per kilogram. The cleanup threshold is 30 nanograms. That's over 2,000 times the safe level. And yet, people still fish directly above the contaminated areas. Trucks sell freshly caught seafood near the site. During floods, contaminated sediment washes onto residential property. People are living with poison seeping into their yards. The southern pit excavation began November 2022 and is 72% complete. But the northern pit, the cleanup is in limbo. International Paper and Waste Management are locked in a legal stalemate with the EPA over who pays and how to do it. Harris County passed a resolution in April 2025 demanding immediate removal. The EPA says maybe 2028 for the next review. Meanwhile, people get cancer. This isn't history. This is now. And locals don't warn you away because of ghosts. They warn you away because the poison is real, the cancer rates are documented, and the cleanup might not happen in your lifetime. Location, west bank of San Jacinto River near I-10 Bridge, Channelview. Signs warn of contamination. People ignore them. Don't be people. Invisible poison is one thing, but what about a town that erased itself on purpose? A Imagine living in a town of 10,000 people. Then your employer decides the town isn't profitable anymore. So they don't just close the factory. They demolish every single building, systematically, methodically, until 10,000 people's homes are just gone. That's Thurber. From 1918-1920, Thurber housed 8,000 to 10,000 residents in a completely company-owned, fenced settlement. You worked for Texas Pacific Coal Company. You lived in their houses. You used their script currency. You needed permission to leave. It was a company town in the most dystopian sense. Then railroads switched from coal to oil. Between 1933 and 1935, the company demolished the entire town. Not abandoned, demolished. They tore it down, building by building, and took it all away. Today, 48 people live near what remains: a 148-foot smokestack, a restaurant in the old drugstore, and a cemetery that'll give you nightmares. Thurber Cemetery contains over 1,000 graves, including nearly 700 unmarked burials. It's segregated, 3 separate entrances for Catholic, Protestant, and African American sections. More than half of all graves are infants and children. Scarlet fever, typhoid, diphtheria, whooping cough, and the 1918 pandemic just tore through this place. There's one section with 14 male children buried in precise parallel rows. All the headstones are missing, all of them suspected theft when the cemetery was abandoned from 1936-1970. 14 kids in a row, anonymous forever. The 1918 Spanish flu hit Thurber particularly hard. Antonio Ciampi, 19 coal miner, died October 25th, 1918. Pat Crawford lost his son Eugene on October 20th, then his 28-year-old wife Ollie on October 26th. He was left to raise a 9-year-old alone while mining coal. These aren't statistics. These were people, and the company that employed them erased their entire town when it stopped being profitable. Oh, and there's a documented 1930 ghost sighting. 2 kids, Walter and Frank Costilla, reported encountering the apparition of a murdered carnival queen in the abandoned streets. So there's that too. Location: 75 miles west of Fort Worth, I-20 exit 367, Arath County. Cemetery and W.K. Gordon Center Museum open to the public. Smokestack Restaurant still operates. The ghosts are complimentary. A company deleting a town is corporate horror. But what about when the government does the raiding? 13 miles northeast of El Dorado sits what used to be the Yearning for Zion Ranch. In 2003, the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints bought 1,691 acres under the pretense of building a corporate hunting retreat. They built 10-foot walls topped with spikes, watchtowers equipped with night vision cameras, and inside, Warren Jeffs, the FLDS prophet, created what former members describe as a slave state. On April 3rd, 2008, Texas authorities launched the largest child welfare operation in U.S. history. 400 plus children removed. Evidence of sexual abuse, child marriage, forced unions between teenage girls and older men. The temple contained a built-in bed allegedly used by Jeffs for assaults. 9 men were convicted. Warren Jeffs got life in prison and is currently incarcerated in Palestine, Texas, where he reportedly still runs the church via revelations from his cell. Here's where it gets weirder. Before Texas sold the property in 2014, they exhumed 7 bodies from the on-site cemetery. 7, including Warren Jeffs' second wife. What exactly happened to those people? Why were they buried in the compound? Nobody's saying. Former County Judge Johnny Griffin opposed the raid. I was really opposed to that whole operation, but County Clerk Peggy Williams spoke for most residents. We're glad to have new owners. Publisher Randy Mankin said, "It just felt like a cloud was hanging over the town." The ranch now operates as a military and law enforcement training facility. The FLDS members left peacefully, packed up, and walked away. But the stories from inside describe arranged marriages of girls, complete isolation from the outside world, and absolute control by one man. The buildings are still there, the walls, the watchtowers. It's just been repurposed, which somehow makes it creepier, like putting a fresh coat of paint on a murder house and calling it renovated. Location: 4 miles northeast of El Dorado, 45 miles southwest of San Angelo, Schleicher County. Private property now, training facility, not open for tours. And honestly, you don't want to go there. Cult compounds are creepy because of what happened inside. But the next place, the creepy part is what's still happening. There's an 8-mile unpaved road through Big Thicket National Preserve in Hardin County. It's called Bragg Road. Locals call it Ghost Road. And every single night, lights appear. Not metaphorically, not occasionally. Every single night. Pumpkin-sized orbs of bluish white, yellow, or green light. Documented since the early 1900s, before automobiles were common in the area. The railroad was built in 1902, connecting Saratoga to Bragg Station. Rails removed in 1934. The lights still showing up. When a Houston Chronicle reporter asked about the lights at a nearby convenience store, an elderly man responded, "There's ghosts out there. You shouldn't go out there because there's ghosts, and that lady knows it." He pointed at the clerk. She nodded. A late 1980s investigation concluded the light was not from vehicle headlights. It appears when no cars are present. It doesn't behave like headlights. The swamp gas theory was disputed because there's no swamp directly near the road. Local legends vary. A decapitated railroad worker searching for his head, a murdered bride, a Mexican railroad crew killed and left in the woods. Pick your ghost. They're all equally unverifiable and equally creepy. Here's what we know for sure. The light appears. It moves. If you try to approach it, it disappears or moves away. Scientists investigated and basically said, "We don't know," and gave up. The road has official Hardin County Park status now, with information boards explaining the phenomenon, which is bureaucratic speak for, "Yeah, it's real. We have no idea what it is. Please don't sue us." Warning from locals. The road can be impassable after rain. It's pitch black at night except for the phenomenon. No lighting, no facilities. If something goes wrong, you're very alone and very far from help. Also, bringing your own flashlight seems to make the light appear faster. Whether that's because it's attracted to light or because you're just more likely to notice it when you're paying attention is up for debate. Location: FM 787 near Saratoga to FM 1293 near Bragg Station, 16 miles west of Counsa, Hardin County. Free access. Bring a friend and maybe a prayer. Mysterious lights you can see but can't explain. Unnerving. But what about a place where you can't see the danger at all? Picture a neighborhood. Nice houses, families, kids playing. Developers sell you a home for $70,000 to $90,000 in the 1980s. Great deal, right? Then your kids start getting sick. Welcome to what used to be the Southbend subdivision near Friendswood. Developers built homes here adjacent to a toxic waste processing site that had been active since the 1950s. They didn't tell the buyers, just sold houses next to poison and hoped nobody would notice. Residents noticed when their children developed birth defects and rare illnesses. Testing found carcinogens in children's blood at 100 times acceptable levels, reproductive organ abnormalities, kidney disease, cancer. In 1992, a $207.5 million settlement, the largest toxic waste settlement at the time, funded college education for 700 affected children, as if college tuition makes up for your kid being poisoned. Demolition of Southbend homes began January 2nd, 1997. The EPA installed a 45-foot underground clay barrier. In 2006, the site was removed from the national priorities list. Problem solved, right? Wrong. In 2010, a contaminant leak was discovered, plumes found over 50 feet below ground. The EPA now says the site may never be safe for unrestricted use. Never, as in not in your lifetime, your children's lifetime, or your grandchildren's lifetime. Former residents describe a surreal ghost town experience. Empty streets with old house slabs still visible, grass growing through cracks, chain link fences and gates, barbed wire. They played baseball in empty lots, hitting balls through abandoned houses. Men in spacesuit-looking outfits would periodically appear and mess with the ground. A Facebook group exists for former residents sharing ongoing health problems. Decades later, they're still dealing with the consequences of living on poisoned land. Here's the thing that should terrify you. New development continues to be built around the site. Houses, apartments, businesses, right next to the place the EPA says will never be safe. The next 5-year review is scheduled for 2028. Meanwhile, people are signing leases and mortgages, raising families, building lives on top of and adjacent to a Superfund site that's still leaking. Location: 2501 Dixie Farm Road area, near Friendswood, Harris County. Drive past it all you want, just don't buy property there, ever. Poison you can't see is terrifying, but the #1 spot, it's the place where death itself refuses to leave. Population of Yorktown, about 2,100 people. Number of deaths at Yorktown Memorial Hospital between 1951 and 1986, over 2,000. The Sun newspaper in the UK called it the most haunted place on Earth, and after you hear what happens here, you might agree. Built in 1951 by Felician Sisters of the Roman Catholic Church, this hospital operated until 1986, then served as a drug rehab facility until 1992. An estimated 2,000 plus deaths occurred within its walls. That's almost twice the current population of the entire town. Just think about that for a second. Reports include shadow figures throughout halls, disembodied moans and screams, black apparitions with glowing red eyes, especially in the chapel. When people try to read Bible verses in the chapel, entities reportedly growl. Talking dolls respond to questions on camera. Wheelchairs roll unpushed. The former caretaker reported seeing numerous individuals walking around after lights were turned off. Not one, not a couple, numerous. Ghost Adventures investigated. Destination Fear filmed there. Multiple paranormal teams have documented activity. SPIRIT. Scientific Paranormal Investigative Research Institute of Texas manages access now. Recently purchased by Curious Twins Tours, the building remains in poor structural condition. Peeling paint, crumbling walls, the smell of decay, but people keep going there because the activity is undeniable. Caretaker Stephanie Mayfield describes feeling oppressive weight when she's there alone. Cold spots in rooms with no air conditioning, footsteps when nobody's walking, things touching her when she's the only living person in the building. Locals walking near the property report strange sounds and sights, and they've been reporting them since 1992, when the place first shut down. 30 plus years of consistent accounts from people who have no reason to lie. What makes Yorktown Memorial genuinely terrifying isn't that it's haunted. Lots of places claim to be haunted. It's that everyone who goes there, skeptics, believers, paranormal investigators, random visitors, everyone experiences something. The activity doesn't care if you believe in ghosts. It happens anyway. And here's the detail that'll stick with you. 2,000 deaths in a hospital serving a town of 1,100 people. That means almost every family in Yorktown lost someone there. Multiple someones. This isn't just a haunted hospital. It's the place where an entire town buried its dead for 35 years. Location 728 W Main St. Yorktown. Private property. Tours available through SPIRIT at 210-802-9187. No unauthorized access permitted. Trespassing in Texas can get you shot, and something in that hospital might be worse than getting shot.